Hello, everybody. Welcome to Entrennial Talks, sponsored by Entrennial University. I am the founder of Entrennial University and your host of Entrennial Talks, Anastasia Button. And I'm really excited about today because we focus a lot of what we do towards millennial entrepreneurs. And we have the guy who is going to really help us young millennial entrepreneurs get our businesses up in front of people. And it's going to be really cool. He's going to show us how we can leverage certain techniques to really get your word and your brand out there. Hey, Shrez, thanks for joining us. Really excited to have you on here. So without further ado, I'm going to be introducing and talking about Greg throughout, the whole podcast here, but I'm just really excited to jump in, get into the meat for you guys. So here we are with the amazing and the wonderful Greg Jamison. Hey, Greg, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks, Anastasia. This is going to be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much. And hey, Ben, thanks for joining us on the live. So, tell us a little bit about you, what you do. I mean, you're an author of a couple books. I actually have a copy of your book, Influencer Effect, and it's really cool. And I remember seeing you speak at Stern Storming. That was awesome. So just tell us a little bit more about what you do, what's your book about, and what are maybe some things that we're going to be talking about in this conversation?
Okay, well, I don't know how far back you want to go, but basically I've been in technology in some form or fashion my entire career. And when the internet started up, did you know that the internet is actually 25 years old today?
Really?
I just saw that it went into the public domain 25 years ago on April 30th. So that's pretty cool.
That is cool. Happy birthday, Internet.
Yeah. So I've been involved in the Internet pretty much since it went live to the public domain. And basically one of the things that I kind of figured out early on is that while the Internet was fun, people really needed a way to make money by using it. And that's really been my goal the entire time that I have been working online, is to help other people make money.
Yeah, and there's been so many different ways. I mean, the internet is always morphing, it's always changing. And, even as millennial entrepreneurs, even though we're like savvy with tech and we know a lot of these new tools and new things coming out, but it's always something new that seems to be coming and developing. And so we've talked about Facebook ads, talked about Google ads, talked about all sorts of stuff out there to get your name and your brand on the internet and people knowing about you. But you have something that's pretty new and is being used by a lot of big wigs and people who are just getting really savvy, probably because they know you. They're like, Greg told me to do this, so that's what I'm doing. So tell us, what is this influencer marketing that you keep talking about and we keep hearing about?
Yeah, influencer marketing is, if you really take a look at it, it's been around forever, but as a buzzword, it's been around for just a couple of years. And because of that, it seems to have gotten a lot of attention and in some ways, regulations now and all sorts of other things. But it's really all about finding someone that has a following for a particular niche. Let's just say that you are a photographer and you've got a whole bunch of people that are following you because, you are Ansel Adams and everybody thinks that your pictures are incredible. So they really listen to what you have to say when it comes to photography. Now you say, you know what? I can kind of leverage that by, hooking up with Canon or Nikon or somebody and basically going out and promoting the products that those companies offer that I think are really good. Now, for influencer marketing to really work, you have to truly believe in the product that you are promoting. It can't just be that, Canon says, hey, I've got this new camera, I want you to promote it for me. And you think, yeah, it's a piece of junk, but I'm going to do it for the money. But if it's something you really believe in and you've got all these people that are following you because you are the king when it comes to, photography, in this case, what we're using as an example, then it works incredibly well. Someone, the camera companies are going to really be able to leverage that. And it doesn't have to be somebody as famous as an Ansel Adams. The fact is you've got a following, I've got a following, and as long as people are really engaged with your following, then you can really help companies out. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, I think you got a really good point, because especially with younger and newer entrepreneurs, and we have a lot of Entrennials, millennial entrepreneurs in my community in my app who are pretty new to business. They've been in business for about 2 to 3 years, and so they don't necessarily have a large following. So I love how you brought the idea that leverage the ones that have the big followings, like Canon or Nikon, or some other examples out there. Could be even Microsoft or Apple. It really depends on what industry you're in and who follows that industry. So really knowing your market and their market, make sure they work together. One really cool thing, so you tell me if this is a form of influencer marketing, because a couple of weeks ago I had Coy McDermott on this cast, and he is a millennial and intergenerational expert. We kind of share the same space like that. And one thing he talked about is corporate sponsorships and, kind of working with those big brand names too. I think that, and you tell me, can influencer marketing also work the other way around? Like, do you feel that corporations could actually leverage smaller entrepreneurs to communicate to their ideal customer? I mean, for example, Coy talked about his friend Ramon, who was on stage for AT&T because the audience wasn't able to communicate with their audience with the CEO on stage. So they brought his friend in because he was a smaller entrepreneur and they could relate to him better on stage. So do you feel like influencer marketing could actually work both ways and we can leverage that to our advantage?
It actually works. As it turns out, it works better with someone that does not have a huge following. The amount of engagement goes up the fewer the followers that you have. Let's say you've only got 100 people following you. Well, the reality is that if you're going to go out and you're going to put out a Facebook Live like we're doing here, and 20% of your people, 20 people join in on your Facebook Live, that is absolutely huge in terms of a percentage. There's no way that someone that's got 1 million followers is going to get 20% of them to watch anything. Now, if they did, obviously the numbers would be huge. But if you say, you know what, instead of trying to go after some big shot that's got 1 million followers and I would have to pay them $1 million because they are a big shot, I'm going to go out and find 20 people that have smaller followings but really engaged audiences, then you're actually going to end up getting a bigger impact that way, because you're having to deal with 20 people instead of one, but those 20 people, because they have a smaller following, tend to have more engaged audience. So absolutely.
Yeah, and I think that, when we're younger in business, at least, we tend to think of, I have to be as big as Apple, as big as AT&T. I mean, that's where my business needs to be like today. And we get really antsy, right? But we also want to reach out to those people and have our connections in there, which is great in terms of credibility towards large accounts, especially with corporate. But I love what you're saying, is that really focus on the small, because that's really where the high value people are. Because like our conversation right here, we have smaller audiences than say AT&T, for example, but your audience, they're really connected with you. And I know my audience is very connected with me. We got a lot of people popping up on here. Hey, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. But, I really appreciate it. But I think that's so cool, because you're engaging similar audiences, but at a high impact, high value level, but just smaller percentage. And I think, that kind of ties into the 80-20 rule, right? It's like, it's really 20% of the people that you're really looking to have a conversation with, not the full 100%. Because those are the people that would buy from you. So that is really good insight. Thank you, James. That's awesome.
It's interesting that, a lot of times when I sit here and read these stats, that it says that if you're getting a 1.5% to 2% engagement rate for being an influencer, that's good. And I sit there and I measure my engagement rates, and they're usually about 6%. So it's like, 1% to 2% is not that good, I don't think. The smaller groups of followers, but getting a higher, in the 5-6% engagement rate, you're going to have a lot better luck.
Yeah. So, in other terms, it's like don't worry about how many friends you have or how many likes you have on your page. That actually might be a good thing. I think that's also encouraging, especially, you know, for us who look at our accounts every week and we're like, well, we should be tallying how many extra likes and shares and stuff we got, but, you know, because growth is good, but I think that when we see those numbers, sometimes we're just like, oh my gosh, I didn't get any likes, or no one shared my stuff, this amazing content I put out, right? So I think that's great and encouraging to us that, you know what, sometimes small is actually better because you can get that high value client. So thank you, James. That's awesome. So tell us a little bit about your book, The Influencer Effect. I've kind of read it. I've read most of it. I haven't read all of it, we'll be honest. But I love a lot of what you put in here. Just talking about where you can go to review products and just kind of getting your name out on the net almost as much as you possibly can without having to do a whole lot of legwork. So kind of tell us like a little bit more about this book and some of the top tips you found to be most effective.
Yeah. So what you're saying is you want to be seen everywhere, which is absolutely the case. You don't want to just be seen on a particular social media platform, for example. And one of the issues that I actually have with a lot of people that talk about influencer marketing is everybody seems to think that they equate influencer marketing with Instagram. And the reality is Instagram is just one platform. And I understand that the brands are paying the Kim Kardashians of the world to go out there and, you know, pimp a product on Instagram for them, but doing things like a Facebook Live, like what we're doing here, doing YouTube videos, doing, posting stuff on Twitter and Facebook and Pinterest and everything else, your own blog, your own podcast, all of these different things. The more places you can be seen and actually start to build an audience, the better it is for you, because you want to be seen everywhere. And there are some tools out there that you can use, obviously, where you can syndicate your own content out there. You don't have to spend 10 hours a day going, oh, I need to post this on Facebook now, and now I'm going to jump over here and post this on Twitter or whatever. You can use tools like If This Then That, where it will automatically post something for you. You say, okay, if I post something on Facebook, also post it on Twitter and Instagram and whatever. So there's tools out there like that you can use. One of the things that I specifically like to do is I write a blog post every week, and as soon as I write a blog post, it automatically generates a newsletter for me and goes out to all of my subscribers. It also goes to LinkedIn, it goes to Facebook, it goes to Twitter. I just write the piece of content one time and it goes out to all of those places.
Yeah. And, I think that comes down to a lot of people get a little overwhelmed, not only with the idea of, oh, I have to go to all these different channels, but even creating a system like that. I know that some people are like, well, I don't know a whole lot about tech. I mean, I even get some millennials that say that we are human people, but, we're kind of going, okay, we have to create that system that when I create a blog, it automatically generates to all of these other like social media platforms. So we have to create those system and processes, either it's mapped out or just really understanding them in an outline of some kind. I mean, do you have any tips on how we can craft that vision before we go out and, create it?
Yeah, well, one of the things, and you're aware of this from having at least read parts of the book, is that I have a system in the book that I call GEARS. And each letter of GEARS, it's an acronym and it stands for something. So the first one, G, is to generate interest. And I have different steps in there of how you can generate interest. The E is to engage influencers, whether that be doing things with affiliate marketing or working directly with influencers, joint venture programs, and so forth. The A is to amplify your message, and that is beyond what the influencers are doing. This is where you're actually going out there and you're sharing it yourself through emails, you're doing some advertising and so forth. The R is the results gear, and there's different steps in there about reviewing what you've done and then repeating those things that are working. And the S is the systems gear. That is, everything revolves around whatever strategy you have defined. So I don't know how well you can see the big poster back here of the book, but there's actually there you go right there. So that gears diagram right in the middle there, that small gear in the middle is called the sun gear, and the other gears are called planet gears, and they revolve around the sun gear. So the sun gear is your strategy, and the generate interest, the amplify your message, those gears are the planet gears, and they all revolve around that strategy. So that's all laid out in the book there.
Yeah, it is. And it's really nice because you have a really good flow with this book. It really get people to understand how you can create these systems, create the flows. I mean, you can even just use the map here to create what you need to create those systems and those processes. So that's awesome. So, we have a lot of millennial entrepreneurs, these Entrennials, that, they're 2 to 3 years into their business, right? So they're making some pretty good money, but they need to start scaling, start moving forward. So that's where they come into our accelerator program, find the mentorship they need and the guidance that they need. And so moving forward, they have an idea of what they're doing in business. They've kind of figured out, what their customers want. They've ironed out those things. Now it's time for them to really go find those influencers to help them scale their marketing, get a great return on investment with marketing. So what are some identification factors that you would say they need to look for in order to find these influencers that would leverage best with what they're trying to do?
I think the big thing is really finding people that have a following of people, and like I said, it doesn't have to be a big following, but have a following of people that really trust what this person is saying. However, whatever kind of content they're putting out. And frequently when we think of content, people are sitting there thinking, oh, this guy's writing a blog or doing a podcast or whatever. But as I indicated before, it could be a photographer. He's putting out photographs. It could be a musician. They're putting out music or whatever. So if you have, if your company is producing something to do with music, and you can get a musician that has a really good loyal following of people, then it doesn't have to be that, hey, this is, I'm making guitars and this is Keith Urban, that might be good.
Right. If Keith Urban's going to talk about you, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, I think Keith actually has his own line of guitars, so that may not work. But the point is that people are really engaged with whatever type of content it is that you're putting out, and as long as you have that engagement factor, I think that you will be successful by working with the influencer, and the influencer is going to benefit by working with you too. I think that's the thing that's really cool about influencer marketing, is that when it's done right, everybody wins.
Right. Yeah. And so, let's say I do go to a page, for my millennial entrepreneurs, they could always use help with website development and stuff like that. So let's say I find somebody who specifically looks for millennial entrepreneurs and helping them with websites and stuff. How would I know that it's a trusted area and their audience trusts this influencer, and that we could work together? How would I find or measure that level of trust?
Quite honestly, the best thing to do is to start following an influencer yourself before you would actually go and reach out to them, so you can kind of see what types of conversations they have with their following in the first place, and gauge that for yourself. There are sites out there that will measure things for you. There are sites out there, where an influencer can go and register on a site, for example, and a brand can go out there and register on that site. And these types of sites try to put the two together. And they do that more or less successfully, but I think that you actually are going to get a better return if you reach out to an influencer directly rather than trying to go through one of these matchmaking sites.
Matchmaking influencers, that's awesome. Hey, there's a business idea, guys. We're all swiping left or right anyway. Might as well do that. That's awesome. That's some good advice. I think personally that's something I'm going to take away too, because I don't know if I follow enough millennial entrepreneur or people that service millennial entrepreneurs. And so maybe I will go out there and totally follow them, because it's a great place to collaborate, if anything, but also, we could do a cast together like this. And I get in front of their audience, they get in front of mine, so wow, that's awesome. So thank you. Guys, if you want to get a lot of this stuff, you need to go to Amazon or to Greg's website at gregjamison.com, or you can go to Amazon and get the Influencer Effect. I know lots of you like to download the ebook. So you just go to Amazon and get the Influencer Effect by Greg Jamison. I know this is all like backwards, but you get it. It's all good, but awesome. So, let's talk about like most questions that you get from audiences. Like you just do a presentation, and what's the biggest question that people have after you present? Like, hey, Greg, I'm dealing with this problem. What's your solution?
The single biggest question that I get every time I do a presentation has very little to do with influencer marketing. To this day, it's still, how do I get on page 1 of Google?
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's important too, right? But yeah.
But the reality is that if you sit here and go, okay, well, I'm going to hire an influencer to do something for me. And a good example of this is I actually got hired to promote a waterproof bag. I've got a Boy Scout website as well. And these guys reached out to me and wanted me to promote their dry sack, as if you're going, on a canoe or whatever, and your boat tips over. So I thought, okay, well, if I'm going to really accurately, give this thing a review, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the dry sack and I'm going to put some toilet paper in the bag, and then I'm going to put an anvil in that bag too. I'm going to dunk the thing up and down inside of my hot tub and see if the toilet paper remains dry. So I did this video of that, and I tagged the video properly, put it up on YouTube, tagged it properly, and all of a sudden, like within a day, it was showing up, and it's still showing up on page 1 of Google when you do a search for this Arctic dry sack. So you can't get on page 1 of Google by using an influencer too if they're doing their job right.
It's a really, really good tip. Awesome story, but hey, go check out this dry sack, guys. But also, really, really cool tip is, with these influencers you're talking with, maybe there's a way of how they can kind of present what you do in a way that would capture the audience and get you on number 1 with Google or YouTube. I think that's a really cool idea. So guys, take that with you. Go find some buddies and go and, have an awesome video done about you, whether you do dry sacks, whether you do SaaS, or, whatever.
Videos where you're actually showing the product in action are so much better than, just putting a picture of you up wearing some piece of clothing on Instagram saying, hey, I got paid to wear this piece of clothing. If you, I don't know what the clothing might be, but, if it's, even if you're a swimsuit model, go out there and take a picture of yourself on the beach, or take a video of yourself on the beach, and it's going to get a lot more engagement than just a static photo is.
Yeah, and I think we tend to get trapped with, well, photos are easier than video, right? So what are some tools or maybe some methods that that could help us not only be able to do video effectively, but also to make it relatively quick within our short amount of time frame that we have?
What we're using here right now, Zoom, is a great way to do it. Obviously, doing things on Facebook Live. I think that this little guy it works wonders. You can do that. Now, I've actually have a big HD digital SLR camera that I use when I'm trying to make a really nice video. And if someone's paying you to do a video, you want to have that kind of quality, I think. But video is underutilized by a lot of marketers, and I think by a lot of influencers too. So
yeah.
get out there and do it.
And guys, I can make a testimony to this because I heard James speak last year in September, and I took a lot of things away from you, obviously from the book too. Influencer effect, everybody. And so, but I took a lot of that away, and I know that I created my Entrennial Talks show, what we're doing right now, in February. That was the first time I started having a live show, video, really enhancing on video and doing a lot more lives, doing a lot more clips. And I'm using tools like Magisto. Magisto.com is a great tool. You just plop videos in there and it creates something for you. You don't have to do a whole lot of production. So if it's not something that needs to be like super nice, just go to Magisto. It's pretty inexpensive too. But, you know, just using those kinds of tools and moving forward, like what James is talking about, is like you're going to get a lot more engagement. And since I've been doing these live talks and also doing a little bit more live on my own, I've been getting crazy amounts of engagement, not on just Facebook, but on Instagram, on LinkedIn, just because of the power of video. So totally a testament to what Greg is talking about, because I learned it from the master, gregjamison.com. Doing some influencer marketing right there for you. But yeah, you know, leverage video. And, you know, you're right. We're not really paying attention to video enough. But the funny thing is that we're consuming so much video. Why not be part of that game and get out there as much as you can? That's awesome. So what are some other small things? We talked about video. We talked about creating systems, really leveraging one system to broadcast yourself. And, you know, how can you get on the top, you know, Google page and stuff by influencer marketing? What are some other things that maybe we haven't covered yet about influencer marketing? Some things that we could do simply to get more, you know, return on investment with marketing?
You know, the other really big aspect of influencer marketing, if you just look at influencers in general and you say, what we're really talking about here is a way to automate word of mouth. Mm-hmm. And when you look at that and say, okay, so influencer marketing is not just about models on Instagram, but it's really about everyday people like you and me influencing someone else to go out and take an action. And that being the case, the other really big aspect of this whole thing is testimonials. And testimonials are something that I think everybody would really like to have, and maybe a true review too, you know, so I'm going to say testimonials and reviews, but I think that one of the things that people don't do a very good job of is asking their customers to leave them a testimonial or a review. Most people, when you do ask them, they'll say, yeah, I'll do that. Now, the reality is not everyone is going to do it, even though they say they're going to. Right. It's probably like 10% of the people, but they certainly won't do it if you don't ask. And so what I recommend is that you make it really easy for them to do it. I've actually been working with this company that's been looking to get more reviews on Google. And you can actually create a link. It's not necessarily intuitive, but you can create a link where if somebody clicks on it, it takes you directly to where they leave a review for your business on Google. And doing that type of a thing where you're creating links for people, you send it out in a follow-up email or whatever and say, hey, if you, you know, enjoyed our service or our product or whatever, we'd really appreciate it if you would leave a review or a testimonial here. Just click here. It'll only take 3 minutes of your time. Then people will do that.
Yeah, that's really smart. I mean, I don't think we think about the tools out there that we can use to not just link to a Google review, right? If that's really what you're wanting. Because people are like, I'll leave a testimonial on my site or, you know, reply to my email, which I've kind of been doing now, but I like what you're coming at. I'm going to do that.
Leave a review for the influencer effect on Amazon.
Yeah, there we go, everybody. We're going to send the link in the comments. Right? So no, yeah, because you can take a huge ass link, right? And you can shrink it down into a tiny URL or a bit.ly link, or, you know, there's all sorts of shorten links. You can Google this, guys, or, you know, go to bit.ly.com, whatever, and you can shorten that, put it in the email, and people can just click on it and get there. I mean, the least amount of clicks possible is really going to get people more likely to take action. That's definitely something I've learned.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now the thing with reviews and testimonials, and this is where I said earlier in the show that there's been some legislation and stuff come in around this, as influencer marketing has kind of become the buzzword of the year, is that you can't provide incentivized reviews. In fact, in November of 2016, Amazon totally shut down incentivized reviews. And it was not because Amazon was, you know, trying to play the good guy or whatever. It's because they were getting pressure. They won't tell you that, but they were getting pressure probably from the Federal Trade Commission. And so if you do leave a review that's incentivized, which is really a lot of what influencer marketing is about, you actually have to tell people that, hey, I got this product from XYZ company for the express purpose of leaving a review. So that, you know, people are like, okay, I get it. It's an incentivized review, and they can factor that into their buying decision. It would be nice to say, you know what, I would like to incentivize my customers to leave me a review. So if you go out and you leave me a review, then I'm going to give you something in exchange for that. You may be able to do some things that are kind of skirting the FTC requirements around that. You know, somebody goes out and they buy your product and leave a review, and then they show you that they, you know, here's my receipt or whatever from having purchased the product. So now they actually did purchase the product. Then you can go out there and say, okay, here's a bunch of bonus material that I'm going to give you for you having done that.
I see. So leave a review, you get bonus material, kind of sneak around.
Well, and you're doing it kind of after the fact. So someone they actually are a customer. They did purchase your product or service, and it's not unlike, I guess, if you're selling a physical product and you ship them the product and you include in the product, hey, here's a coupon for 20% off your next purchase. That's certainly been a practice that's been around for years, and you can do that, and no one cares. And you can kind of do the same thing with ratings and reviews too, where somebody goes out there and they give you that, they show you that, well, maybe you know already because they bought it directly from you, or if they're buying it off of Amazon or whatever, you show them their product receipt, and then you say, thanks for doing that. Here's a link to a bunch of bonus material.
Oh, cool. Because I kind of like that method, actually, really do, because it's not just we deliver, it's we over deliver. So you have purchased from us, thank you so much, and as a thank you, here's a bunch of bonus material. By the way, it'd be great if you could leave a review. You know, something like that. I think that's a great way to not only build relationships with your customers and for them to talk about you. Oh my gosh, I bought this product and they sent me like 2 other things with it. Like, you know, who doesn't like more stuff? That's great, right? So
we are a consumer society.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool tactic. So everybody's listening, just kind of brainstorm in your mind, like, what can you add after they purchase or after they put a contract in with you? What's an extra thank you, bonus? By the way, if you ever feel like you want to leave a review based off our quality goods, go to this awesome link that we're going to provide in the email. I think this is really cool stuff, James. This is really going to help our Entrennials. Thank you so much. So what's new with you? Like what's something that's coming on the horizon? I know you're doing more speaking and consulting, but what else is out there?
Well, that's really a lot of what I've been concentrating on. As I said earlier, I've been involved in the internet pretty much since its inception, and things are always changing, of course. I still actually have a fair amount of client work that I'm doing, both with helping people build e-commerce websites, helping them market their e-commerce websites, and doing some search engine optimization type things for them. Always looking for more influencer deals, looking for more speaking gigs, doing some workshops for some retail stores at various places, both in Estes Park and in Dallas are coming up. So staying busy.
Yeah, you're always staying busy, which is good. So guys, if you need a speaker on influencer marketing, he's your guy. If you just want to get the book, here's the book. Go get it at Amazon.com or at his website. And he's always there ready to help you or your company with consulting. So definitely check out his website. It'll be in the links after this video is completed. You can definitely reach out to Greg. So definitely do that. But real quick, Greg, tell us something a little bit personal about you. I know you're going to go on a trip here soon. And it's really exciting. And maybe we could get, okay, I'll bring it up in a second. But where are you going very soon?
All right. Well, my daughter is getting married next week in Hawaii. So I am headed for Hawaii this weekend and going to be there for 2 weeks, actually. We're going to spend getting ready for the wedding. Then I get to practice my speaking with the father of the bride speech. And then we're going to take a week's vacation afterwards to kind of recover from the whole thing.
That's awesome. So could you tell us
I'll be sharing stuff on social media.
Good. Yeah, guys, follow him around because he's also going to be at a really cool location. His daughter's at an awesome location where there's a big movie that was actually filmed on this location. So Greg, tell us a little bit about that movie that was filmed at your location where your daughter is being married.
Yeah, so there's this ranch on the north end of Oahu, and I can't remember the name of it for sure. It's, well, it doesn't matter what the name of it is, but it's where they filmed Jurassic World. So,
so you know that Facebook has a little like augmented reality filter that you can put a little like what are they called, velociraptor out there. Please do that.
The funny thing about this whole thing is that because of the location, their wedding invites actually had like flowers and dinosaurs and stuff all over the wedding invite, but it's really cool. My future son-in-law designed this thing, and people have said that it's actually the prettiest wedding invite that they've seen. But the tables, instead of it being, you know, well, you're seated at table 1 or whatever, it's like you're seated at the Velociraptor table.
We're getting a lot of hearts, a lot of likes. This is good stuff. They're like, that's awesome. Yeah, it is, guys. Oh my gosh. So you guys got to follow Greg because he's going to be showing some dinosaur stuff at his daughter's wedding. I really hope you have like a velociraptor marrying your daughter and her husband, like with your augmented reality app. That'd be awesome. Give us some likes if you guys like that idea. Just saying. Yeah, so we're getting a lot of people that are on here and they're really enjoying what you're talking about, Greg. So this brings in a lot of value towards their business. But other than just following you, your Velociraptor tales, and getting your book, Influencer Effect, on Amazon or on your website, gregjamison.com, how can we follow you? How can we get connected with you? And do you have something for our audience to how they can, you know, get a little bit more of you?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first, the easiest way to follow me is if you just go to gregjamison.com/connect. All of my social media links, my blog links, my podcast links, everything are all on one page there. So that's makes it really easy instead of me sitting there trying to roll off a whole bunch of different things of how to find me or where to search for me. Just gregjamison.com/connect. And yeah, one of the things that I'm doing is I actually have a group coaching program, and that group coaching program, it goes every other week. And so it will be happening this Wednesday at 1 o'clock. And on the gregjamison.com site, there is a place where you can go and you can get the first one of those for free. So people can just go there and join us this Wednesday for the group coaching program. And like I said, the first one, there's no cost for it. So happy to have you join us there as well.
Awesome. Yeah, we'll be sharing that with our community in Entrennial University as well in an exclusive app. But also right here, guys, I put in the link in the comments. You can go and check out Greg Jamison's website, connect with him a little bit. And, you know, if you want to get in touch with him because of all of the amazing things that we talked about today, is how to leverage your time with social media and getting your content out there. And, how do you leverage video? How do you find your influencers? Are they the right ones for you? How can you work together? Like, these are all things that James talks about and more, because there's lots of little gears and lots of little spaces that we definitely did not cover in this very short time period. But guys, I'm going to ask James a few more questions. If you have any questions, please put it into the chat area in the live or on the cast, and we'll definitely ask James those questions about influencer marketing, how to get return on investment with your marketing today. So James, what are probably a few tips, just the last tips you could give our millennial entrepreneurs in our audience in the influencer marketing realm? What are the top 2 ways you really see leveraging the influencer marketing? So I know one's probably going to be video, is definitely doing video together like what we're doing here. But what's another way that you can get a lot more influencer marketing traction?
Well, there's really 2 ways that are fairly simple. One is I talked about these kind of matchmaking sites where the influencers register on the site and the brands register on their site. You can find some of those sites out there. I've got a half a dozen or so listed in the book there. And yeah, do a Google search on it and just, match up influencers with brands, and you'll get some sites out there like Jamison.com and influencer.io and some of those types of sites. But the other thing that you can do is to start out small is create your own affiliate program. A huge amount, it's almost 50% of Amazon sales still come through affiliate marketing. And
really?
Yeah. I mean, everybody knows about Amazon, right? And it's like the first place that people go to do a product search. Not Google. Typically, they'll go to Amazon to do a product search. If they don't find it on Amazon, then they go to Google. But I know that I write blog posts and I put links out to products on Amazon all the time when I'm writing a blog post. Lots of other people do that as well. And there's no reason why, if you've got a product or a service, why you shouldn't be running your own affiliate program and letting all of your loyal customers basically be bringing other customers to you, pay them enough money to make it worth their while, and they'll be promoting you that way too. So I would recommend that everybody has an affiliate program.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost like having a unconventional and a different form of sales crew.
It is. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, it's like you're creating your own sales crew without having to do the, W-2s or the W-9s and all those, tax and wonderful payroll things. It's kind of like an automatic process. So that's really cool. So what are some areas where we can, go and get affiliate marketing?
Well, there's kind of 2 ways that you can do affiliate marketing. You can certainly register with a third-party site, like a Commission Junction type of site. The issue with that is you have to be a pretty good-sized company to actually do that, because they are going to take, they're going to investigate you, and they basically have to approve you. And they, on top of that, so now you're kind of going through those hoops, but they also take a percentage as well. That's how they make their money. What you can do instead is basically just go out there and create your own, use a plugin or whatever. There's different plugins dependent upon what your platform is, that will allow you to run your own affiliate program on the back end of your website. And if you're doing $1 million or $2 million a year type thing, that's what I would recommend, is just make your own.
Okay. And if we're not making $2 million a year, because I know some of our millennial entrepreneurs aren't quite up to that yet.
Well, no, I'm saying up to that. No.
Up to $2 million. Oh, okay, sorry.
Yeah, no,
if you're making.
if you're making a couple $100 million a year, you're a big company,
Yeah. Okay.
Or more. The Walmarts of the world are on link share. or Commission Junction or whatever.
Wow. So we got Amazon. You just said some big wigs are using affiliate. We got Amazon, we got Walmart, probably a bunch of other big, huge conglomerate companies are also using
most of the big companies have some type of an affiliate program.
Right. That's awesome. I have kind of an affiliate program. I have a referral program. So people who refer, Entrennials who would like to enroll into my university, and they enroll, I give them a $200 paycheck. And, I'm sorry?
That's the same concept, and it's absolutely what you want to do.
Absolutely. So, hey, anybody who's
doing it right.
Right? Well, do you have your own affiliate program, or is that just something that you also consult on?
I absolutely do. You can sign up on gregjamison.com. There's a link on there somewhere that says affiliate program. And he'd be happy to have you promote my stuff.
Yeah, there you go, guys. So if you want to make a little extra cash, if you're needing some Greg services.
Here's the thing that people need to understand about affiliate programs too is your affiliates probably are not going to make a lot of money. Mm-hmm. Quite honestly, I don't make a lot of money pushing stuff through on Amazon. Even like that dry sack that I told you about earlier, I put an affiliate link for that dry sack on my video. And do I make some money on it? Yeah, a little piddly amount here and there. But the people that make the money on it are the people that are running the affiliate program. Because people are putting links in their blogs, they're putting out ads and all kinds of stuff, hoping to get a little bit of money here and there. So they're creating all kinds of exposure for you. And if you run your own affiliate program, that is something that you absolutely want to do.
Yeah, actually this sparks a lot of millennials that I know of on YouTube who have their own product YouTube channels. They're like, oh my gosh, I just got the crazy weird glasses that has X-ray vision. And, you do the box opening, they tell you about the product, they tell you if you like it, they put it on, all that. Because they have an audience, right? So they send the doodad and they're like, if you want a product, you can click the link below, right? That's an affiliate program. They're making some money by referring you to a product. So, you guys, if you have products, if you have services, do what Jake's talking about, connect with him and learn how to do that affiliate marketing because it does pay off. So, Greg, this has been an awesome interview. So much amazing content that you have brought to our Entrennials. We had a lot of people popping on, and I know some people had to pop off just because it's a long cast, but guys, you can get the recording of this if you just pop onto our links on our landing page about getting the Entrennial Talks interviews. You can also check us out on our YouTube page. Subscribe to that because this interview will pop up on there as well. So, Greg, thank you so much for being here. We're getting our likes going on here. Really appreciate your time and your expertise and taking your time to share what you know and how we can really up level our marketing and our branding. So thank you.
You're very welcome.
All right. All right, guys. Well, this is Entrennial Talks, sponsored by Entrennial University. I am the founder, Anastasia Button, author of the book, #New Job, New Life, The Millennials Take Charge Plan for Success. We are going to have another interview next week with the amazing Kyle Brost. He is going to talk all about millennial leadership and how you can be a leader in the world. So definitely tune into that. And thank you so much for joining us on Entrennial Talks. Stop the broadcast.